Finish the bottle when I hope think she a model. She in the mirror like a short time the Apollo. Can strip the floor and I'll pull up in the towel. Thought it's boring, I ain't calling unless she swallow. She don't listen, I ain't tripping, she don't follow. Got another where he swerving on the potholes. Got another thought, he thinks she hit the lotto. She pop a perky, then she chase it with Moscato. This bitch is bad, she fucking all the drug dealers. I took his bitch and then I took his plug, nigga. Have her back, I'm getting to the bag, nigga. Bust in your house, I'm running through your stash, nigga. On the grand, flashing all that cash, nigga. Part in my back, I'm counting all these stacks, nigga. Gucci duffel Louis on my ass, nigga. Hennessy and TNT, we blast, nigga. Ferragamo on my dress, I'm looking right, baby. She wanna link, I'm only out here for the night, baby. In Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and I hold just wobble wobble. Just thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African swing, he spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby. This whole sick, she fucking on the damn crew. Coming out of sock, she lost her damn shoe. Her friend a poppin', she ain't got no damn clue. Rollin' O's and weed and smoking bamboo. Smoking gelato when the Tahoe smell the fucking jar. She wanna ride with me cause we look like some movie stars. This thotty moving faster than a speeding car. Coming through the door with no panties on. Poppin' mollies and you know she took a Zanny bar. Talking about a Mazda is a family car. I hit her with a curve, then the coup de grace. Zillow games, I'm shaking up the dice, baby. She wanna stay with me so we can make the night, baby. She wanna be with me so I can lay the pipe, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. I'm only out here for the night, baby. Ferragamo on my dress, I'm looking right, baby. She wanna link, I'm only out here for the night, baby. In Puerto Rico, Casamigos with the Sprite, baby. She wanna fuck with the scammers, talk to me nice, baby. She hit the bottle and I hold just wobble wobble. Just thought he fucking for a fight, the cobble wobble. African swing, he spin, hit the throttle. She wanna fuck with the gangsters, talk to me nice, baby.
Welcome to the Check-In Report. I am your humble yet gracious host, True and Living. I am in the building. We turn up the levels a little bit on my side, you know? Sounding real good. We are gathered here today to talk about the last 100 days of a Donald Trump presidency. And I'm here to talk to the Trump supporters. You guys have elected this man. You put this man in position. Listen, and it's not just the Trump support. It's a lot of people. You guys put this man in position. He won the popular vote. He won all of the electoral votes. You guys put this man in position. I want to know. His last 100 days, he has spent 100 days in office. How are you satisfied with the work? Are you satisfied with the work? Are you satisfied with the positioning things he's done? Are you satisfied with the tariffs? Are you satisfied with the student loans? Are you satisfied with him breaking down different sectors of government? I want to hear from the Trump supporters tonight. A lot of Trump supporters are happy. A lot of Trump supporters are happy with the work he's done. A lot of Trump supporters are enamored with the work he's done. They're happy with the work he's done. But a lot of people are, they're not happy. They're not happy. A lot of immigrants, they're not happy. A lot of Hispanic people, they're not happy. A lot of people are not happy. A lot of people that do business overseas, whether it be with China and all these different places where they get cheap labor and cheap goods, a lot of people are not happy. It's affecting a lot of people's checkbooks. It's affecting a lot of people's banks. And we're here to watch Donald Trump. He did an interview with ABC, his last 100 days, in office. We're going to take a gander at this and see what he's talking about, and let's see what he has to say. I'm sure they're going to ask him some pressing questions in terms of all of these things that are happening. So let's get right into it. This is Donald Trump, first 100 days interview with ABC. Let's get into it.
Office is very important. Save Ronald Reagan here and put him a little bit larger. It sort of seemed to fit very nicely. You have Democrats a little bit. You have
Franklin Roosevelt.
So you look at that picture and people say, well, what's he doing up there? But look, he was a serious president, whether we like it or not. He was a fortune.
And why is Trump mentioning FDR? You know, FDR, he historically, he was a World War II president. But he had an extended presidential reign. He had spent, I think over 4 terms in office. I think he did 4 terms in office. I may have to look that up. Let me look that up. Did FDR do 4 terms? How many terms did FDR did? I believe it was 4 terms FDR did. Is Trump hinting to doing more than 1 term? Let me see. How many terms did FDR serve? From 1933 to 1945. He did about what? He served 4 terms. Is Trump trying to serve out another 2 more terms by mentioning FDR? Is that why? We can get into that later.
Termer, and went through a war. You have Lincoln, you have Washington, but you look over here. That's Monroe, the Monroe Doctrine.
Why is he up there?
I think the Monroe Doctrine was pretty important. That was his claim to fame. Over here, you have the original of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, and of course, you have the Declaration of Independence.
What does it mean to you?
Well, it means exactly what it says. It's a declaration.
It means exactly what it says. Come on, Trump. Come on. You could do better than that. You could have had somebody write you something a little bit more patriotic than it means just what it says. Come on, Trump. Come on, Trump. Come on.
It's a declaration of unity and love and respect, and it means a lot, and it's something very special to our country.
Lincoln's portrait up there. I'm not familiar with that one, but I think when I'm looking at that famous line in the second inaugural, with malice toward none, with charity toward all.
Well, he was a great president. He went through a lot.
And the Oval Office is always changing between presidents. And
it changes,
that says something.
It does.
What does this say about how you feel about the country and the office?
Well, I think it says I love the country. I mean, I'm putting pictures of presidents up that have never been up, pictures that weren't largely used. And in many cases, great men, in this case men, but great men of great achievement.
And your every detail, it seems.
Yeah.
This is your office.
I'm a very detailed person. I'm a very clean person. I like cleanliness. I like to see this space be treated properly. I've added a lot to the space in terms of beautification, in terms of modernization. That's
a gallery of presidents.
It really is. It really is. So, and it's an honor to have you people with us.
Mr. President, thank you for doing this.
Thank you very much.
Here in the Oval Office.
Let me know what you think of Trump's first 100 days. Did he do a great job? Did he do a meh job? Is he the worst? Is he effing up the country? A lot of people are unhappy with the work he's been doing. A lot of people are not happy with the work he's been doing. I wanted to hear from y'all, though. I want to hear from y'all tonight. What do y'all think of his work so far? Are you guys supporters of his? Do you guys support what he's been doing? Or, do you rock with him? Do you not rock with him? I want to know tonight. I really do. I want to know tonight. I want to know from everybody in here tonight what your opinion on Trump is. Let's get back into this, though.
It's special. 100 days into your second term. So what's the one thing, just one thing, that you think is the most significant thing you've done so far in these 100 days?
That's a good question.
Well, I think maybe the border is the most significant because
Now, I'm going to give Trump a little bit of leeway here. I think that the border was of importance. As much as the liberals try to downplay the border and the crisis at the border, I'm going to give Trump his flowers on this one. Trump did a good job with the border. I think, making the border, prioritizing the border, putting people down there, making it of critical importance. I think that was a great thing that he did there. I'm going to give him his flowers on that one. I think that was of importance. Do I think that's the most important thing? I wouldn't say it's the most important. Maybe like number 2 or number 3, but it's definitely up there. So I'm going to give Trump his flowers on prioritizing the border. I'm going to give him his flowers on that one.
Our country was really going bad. They were allowing people to come in from prisons, as you know, and you've heard me say it, but you've heard a lot of people say it. Prisons, mental institutions, gang members, murderers. We had many murderers, 11,888, they think. Some murdered more than one person.
Man.
So you had murderers coming in, you had everybody coming in, and not just South America, from all over the world. They were emptying their prisons into our country. And now it's totally closed down. And you've seen just yesterday, they announced 99.9%. Nobody thought that could happen. And it happened quickly, very quickly. And I think that's very significant. But
border crossings down 99.9%. Is that a fact, or is Trump just spewing jargon? I don't know. He could be right. I'm just saying that anybody knows that. I haven't seen that stat, but he may be right, though. He may be right.
And other things that are very significant, results will take a little bit longer because it's one of those, it's complicated. It's many years of trading abuse. We've been abused by other countries for years.
Deltron says number 1 is corporate greed. I agree. Has Trump prioritized that? I would say I think within government, he's prioritized that. He's exposed a lot of political corruption by way of DOGE. So I think that he has done. If you're saying that he prioritized exposing political corruption, corporate corruption, I would say within government, I would give him that. I think that there's some things that I think Trump has done good. I think that the whole DOGE thing was a great thing because I think it exposed a lot what was happening. And, there's a lot of corruption in government happening, and I think the border thing was of critical importance as well. Listen, he's had some winners, but he's also had some stinkers. We're gonna get into the stinkers. Don't forget, we're gonna get into the stinkers. Because he's had some stinkers as well. Let's get back into it though.
Years and years, they laughed at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we're fixing it. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But
we have a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, I would really say that the border is so important.
I agree.
We'll get there. Immigration, huge, and we're going to get there. But I want to start with the economy, the number 1 issue for so many people, for just about everybody.
Now, I agree. Now, Trump, you got to remember, Trump, when you ran for office, the border thing was a priority, but you always spoke about the economy. You spoke about how Joe Biden was doing a terrible job running the economy. You talked about the price of milk, the price of eggs, the price of groceries, the cost of living. These are the things you have ran on, Trump. How have you improved on the quality of living? How have you improved on the cost of living? Let's hear what he says about that.
Buddy, it's one of the main reasons that you're back in this office. And now we have this trade war with China that Moody's and other analysts say is going to cost American families thousands of more dollars per year. And there is a lot of concern out there. People are worried, even some people who voted for you saying, I didn't sign up for this. So how do you answer?
A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying, a lot of people weren't expecting some of the routes he was going to take. A lot of people were all in. They were eating high on the hog with Trump. They were rocking with Trump. They believed in Trump, and he kind of, he did a couple of moves that, people weren't expecting to pay for. And when we look back at when he was running, he didn't necessarily have a plan. He talked a lot about tariffs, and I'm going to hit this guy with tariffs. I'm going to hit this country with tariffs. But, we didn't think that we would be paying for it. It's one thing for you to push these other little countries around. It's one thing to push these other little countries around that don't have any, equity in, in terms of, world trade. But when you start pushing around the big wigs, the Chinas, there could be a problem there. And a lot of people wasn't expecting to pay for it, Trump. So let's hear what he says about this.
To those concerns.
Well, they did sign up for it, actually, and this is what I campaigned on. I said that.
Whoa, Trump. Nobody thought that we would be paying for these tariffs. We didn't think we'd be paying for these tariffs. We didn't think we'd be paying for it at the grocery stores for the cost of our goods. We did not sign up for that. You're telling us that this is what we signed up for? Majority of people, now I didn't vote for Trump, but I know for a fact that the majority of Trump supporters did not think that they would have to be paying more. They were hoping that you got into that White House and alleviated their financial burdens. Alleviated. That you can get this economy up and running. Nobody was expecting a free ride or nothing like that. It wasn't expecting another PPP loan or another stimmy. But they were expecting you to alleviate, to regulate the government. They wasn't expecting for the economy to be the same and to, let me add on these tariffs. Let me add on these tariffs. It's going to further mess up your pocketbook. You're hurting the American people. You ran on helping and fixing the government. How are you fixing the government? And people don't want to hear about a long-term plan. People are suffering right now. They're trying to pay their bills now. They're trying to pay off their credit now. They're not trying to be hearing about no 4-year, 5-year tariff war going on with China. People trying to figure things out now. And you got us into this. People didn't sign up for no tariff war with China. Nobody signed up for that. People trying to get their little meager goods and services. And you wet the bed on that. You come on now. Nobody signed up for that, Trump. Now you're lying, saying people signed up for. Salute to Deltron. I see you in there. He says facts. That's a fact.
That we've been abused by other countries at levels that nobody's ever seen before.
Have we been abused by countries? Trump, I agree. We have been abused. A lot of countries have abused us. They've taken advantage of us in terms of, the higher. I agree with Trump on that. I agree. And, in particularly China, I agree. But I'm going to have to be honest, we could have negotiated better terms. We could have negotiated better terms. I don't think, the route he went on negotiating was the better situation. And like I said, you could push around these other countries, these other little countries that don't have, a lot of clout in the world of trade and economy. You could push around these other countries, but when it comes to China, China is responsible for a lot of merchandise and services that the United States needs. A lot of cheap goods and services that we need. And I think that it would have probably been better to kind of have a better strategy with China. The other countries, you could have pushed them around, but when it came to China, you could have negotiated something a little bit better. You could have negotiated better terms with China.
We were losing $3 to $5 billion a day on trade. We were losing $1.5 trillion to $2.
We got 29 people in the building. I need you to hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let me know what you think of the last 100 days of Trump. Was it good? Was it bad? Is he a terrible president? Let me know how you feel about the last 100 days of Trump. Let's get back into it.
$2 trillion a year, not sustainable. They were taking advantage of us like they've never. I could have left it that way. And
now I agree. Like I said, I agree. We were getting taken advantage by a lot of these countries. A lot of these countries were taking advantage of us. And I agree with Trump. Some of these countries, we needed to hit them hard in terms of tariffs, and we needed to hit them hard in terms of world trade. But with China, I don't know. I think we could have had a better negotiation strategy. We could have had a better strategy, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we shouldn't have went in a trade war, because I think eventually we would have went into a trade war regardless. But I think we could have had a better strategy in getting into this, because a lot of people in America wasn't expecting to fit the bill for this. A lot of people that went to the voting booth did not expect to pay for this.
At some point, there would have been an implosion like nobody's ever seen. But I said, no, we have to fix it. I've wanted to do this for many years. I had the best economy during my first term. We had a tremendous economy.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Donald Trump. I think what you're saying is cap. We did not have the best economy when you were in office. That's cap. That's cap, Donald Trump. That's cap. When you were in office, COVID was going around. A lot of things had shut down. A lot of businesses had to close. So all this, you had the best economy. I mean, you wasn't pushing numbers like Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton, respectfully, Bill Clinton, he was in office during, it was a lot of United States made a lot of money back then. National debt was paid off. So when I look at a presidency like that, and I'm no fan of Clinton, I'm no fan of Clinton, but when I look back at those years and I see, the country was being ran a little bit better as a business, and then I look at your term and then I see COVID, I see you adding to the national debt, I can't say that you had the country in good standing when it comes to the economy. I got to be honest. Do I think that you did a better job running the economy better than Biden? Absolutely. I think you did a better job than Biden. But if you're going to say that you were, the best president during, for the economy, I disagree with that. You wasn't pushing numbers like Clinton. You wasn't up there like that. You didn't pay off the national debt. You added to it. So we just got to be real here. We got to be honest.
Tremendous success. And we did tremendous numbers of tariffs we took in a lot of money from tariffs, China in particular, hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs.
We got 57 people in the building. I need you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you're rolling with Trump. Let me know if you think he was a terrible president. Let me know if he's mad. If you think Trump is mad, let me know if he's mad. Personally, I don't like the job Trump is doing. Me personally, we're gonna get into it, but I don't think he's doing a good job. And don't get me wrong, there's been some things that I agree with. I agree with the DOGE thing. I thought DOGE was beautiful. I loved watching Trump expose all of that political corruption. Nancy Pelosi and Elizabeth Warren scamming the American people. Finding out about all these LGBTQ programs, millions of dollars being allocated to all these ridiculous programs. I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was brilliant. Trump sending, Trump sending military to the border. I loved it. Thought it was brilliant. But the man has made mistakes. The man is dropping the ball. The man is hurting the economy. Let's talk about it. We got to be real. We got to be honest, and we got to be real here. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you want to donate to the channel, please donate to the channel. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I want to hear what you guys have to offer to the argument. Let's get back into it.
We had no inflation, as you know. We had an incredible economy. We're given credit for a great economy. But I said, we have to fix this. Otherwise, it's just not self-sustaining.
Well, one of the things you ran on was you'd said you'd bring prices down on day one.
Yeah, what happened to you bringing down the prices?
You don't find that suspicious?
The prices ain't go down.
You don't find that suspicious?
Where are the prices going down?
You don't find that suspicious?
The prices are going up. Because you put these ridiculous tariffs on these cheap goods and meager services. Now I'm paying 200 price dock up on a cheap meager goods and service from China because you don't know how to negotiate. Let's be honest here. A lot of American people did not think that they were going to be paying more. You're making people pay more. You ran on a campaign talking people will pay less. He sold you guys a dream. Oh, the streets will be painted in gold. Your bank accounts would be overflowing with money. He sold you a dream. I'm sure he's taking care of his billionaire buddies though. I'm sure Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, I'm sure he's taking care of those guys. Should we get into Trump forgiving the PPP loans? Forgiving the PPP loans for billionaires and millionaires? Total forgivance of the PPP loans for millionaires and billionaires, but oh no, student loans. We're gonna hit you guys over the head. We're gonna take care of the millionaires and the billionaires. We're gonna let these kids that got these student debts. We're gonna tax the pockets. Not the people that can fit the bill. We're gonna tax the people that can't fit the bill. We're gonna tax those people. He's been doing a terrible job. He's been doing a terrible job. Yo, listen, we got 68 people in the building. I need y'all to hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. We only got 8 likes. Please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Let me put that in the chat. Hold on. Hit that like button. Hold on, y'all. Let me, because y'all liking Stunad right now. Hold on. Hold on. Hit the like button. Yeah, and I hold on. Hit the like button, man. Let me put that up there. Yeah, man. Y'all playing games, man. Hit that like button, Hit that like button. Yeah, man. But Sean C says total lies. What am I lying or is Trump lying? Who's lying? Who's lying here? Let me know who's lying. Let me know who's lying. Let's get back into it, though.
And that it would happen fast. And
I have.
Most economists will tell you that tariffs will raise prices. So don't your tariffs cut against that promise you made to bring prices down?
No, because I had massive tariffs on China, if you remember, in my first term, and we had...
This is not your first term. Trump, that was 2016. Excuse me, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. This is 2025. It's not your first term. Come on, Trump.
Essentially,
and you can't tell people your strategy on how you're going to do this and do that. You can't tell everybody on the world stage that you're going to do this, and then when people in China read about what you're going to do and they decide to move how like you're moving, you can't get mad at it because you told everybody the strategy. That's not smart. That's not smart. You can't tell. You're not supposed to tell your enemy what you're thinking. You told the enemy what you were thinking in terms of the tariffs, and they reacted off of it. They said, "Well, if you're going to do this, we're going to do this." You're not moving right. You're not moving correctly.
No inflation, like around 1% inflation, which is like a perfect number. And then when Biden took over, it went through the roof. It went to the.
And Trump, I am sick of you blaming Joe Biden for every damn thing. Trump woke up on the wrong side of the bed. It's Biden's fault. Trump stepped in some dog poo. It's Biden's fault. Somebody overcooked Trump's steak. It's Biden's fault. Every damn time you're blaming Biden for every damn thing. And listen, I'm no Biden supporter. I'm no Biden fan. I'm not a fan of Sleepy Joe, Benadryl Joe, NyQuil Joe, nighttime and daytime cough Joe. I'm no fan of Joe. But you can't continue to go through this presidency with blaming the man for every damn thing. I got sunburned. It's Joe Biden's fault. He did a terrible job with the economy. If he didn't do a terrible job with the economy, I would never got sunburned. Like, well, come on. You blame Joe Biden for every damn thing. What about you? What are you doing? You're running the ship now. You can't go through 4 years of blaming Biden. I'm gonna tell you that right now, Trump. You can't go through 4 years of blaming Biden. Let's continue.
Probably the worst inflation we've ever had. I mean, we had an inflation nightmare. Now, if you look at what's happening now, we're only there for 100 days, as you say. And in 100 days, we took over. We had bad inflation for 4 years, for 2 years of especially.
And I'm going to shoot Trump a little bit of bail. I'm going to give Trump a little bit of bail. The price of eggs did go down. Some things did regulate. I'm gonna give Trump a little bit of flowers here. The eggs went down. Eggs did go down. A couple of things did go down, right? So inflation did. Some of it did stall. Some of it did go a little bit down. So I'm not gonna just kick in Trump's back. We're gonna give him a little bit of respect here too. If I feel like he's done some good things, if I feel like some attention to detail things, I'm gonna give him his credit. I'm gonna give him his credit on certain things. I'm gonna give him his credit.
2 years of his administration, I would say record-setting like we've never seen. They say 48 years.
We got 117 people in the building. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you have anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We read all super chats. We read all donations. We read all super chats. We read all donations. If you have anything to add to the discussion, let's get back into it.
Years, the worst in 48 years. I say it was much worse than that. Yeah. Right. So now if you look at what's happened, energy is down. Gasoline hit $1.98 in a few states.
Again, I'm going to give Trump I'm going to give him his flowers. Trump's presidency in the last 100 days, it hasn't been all bad. He's done some good. Like I gave him props on the eggs. I did recognize, the gas, gas went down a little bit. There's been a couple of things that Trump has done well. Let's give him his respect. Let's give him his credit. It hasn't been all bad. It's not this liberal nightmare that the Democrats tried to sell us on. It's not this liberal nightmare, this Democratic nightmare that the Democrats tried to sell us. He's done some good, but he's had some failures as well.
During the last couple of days, it was $3.50 and $4 and $4.50, but gasoline is way down. When I took over,
okay, it's not way down. Now I gotta stop you right there, Trump. He just said it's way down. It's not way down. A dollar, a couple of cents here. That's not way down. If gas went down, maybe like maybe like $3-4, then we'll be talking. It didn't go down like that. It didn't go way down. Let's stop you right there. It didn't go way down. All right, I'm shooting you. I'm giving you some bail, but you're going a little too hard with it went way down. No, it didn't go way down.
You remember the big thing with eggs? They hit me the first week. Eggs, 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 like it was my.
I'm going to give him his credit. The eggs have went down. I'm going to give him his credit. The eggs went down. The price of eggs did go down. I'm giving Trump his credit.
My fault. I said, I didn't cause this problem. This problem was caused by Biden. What's the problem with eggs? And they said they've doubled.
Trump, stop blaming Biden for every damn thing. Trump asked for scrambled eggs. He got sunny side up. It's Joe Biden's fault. A dog pissed on Trump's shoes. It's Joe Biden's fault. Melania didn't give him any head last night. Oh, it's Joe Biden's fault. Everything is not Joe Biden's fault. Stop blaming Joe Biden for everything. And listen, I'm no fan of Joe Biden. I'm not a fan of Joe. But it's not all his fault. Certain things I'm gonna give you. Did he mess up the economy? Yes. Did he let all those illegals through the border? Yes. Certain things I'm gonna give you. Yes, it was all his fault. Yes. But certain things is not his fault. Come on, bro. Everything is not Joe Biden's fault.
Doubled, and well, eggs are down 87% since I got involved.
A lot of that is
and
bird
by the way,
flu,
and there were
right?
plenty of eggs for Easter, which we just went through. There were plenty of eggs for Easter. They were saying
Plenty of eggs for Easter, guys.
Don't have enough eggs for
Easter Buddy was dropping a lot of eggs for Easter.
My secretary did a fantastic job on eggs. Groceries are down. Everything's down. Okay. Interest rates are the same.
Everything is not down, Trump. That's a falsity. Everything is not down. And I tell you right now, with the tariffs and all that, things are going to be going up. The price of a lot of things will be going up. So you're not going to be able to hang your hat on everything is going. You're not going to be able to hang your hat on that when it's already not true. And then there's an impending doom of things already going higher because of the tariffs. So I wouldn't hang my hat on that, Trump.
Interest rates should be down, but we have a Federal Reserve that wants to be stubborn. They want to be cute.
We'll get to that. You said something a couple weeks ago that struck me. You said concerning the tariffs, which economists say are going to raise prices, you said, quote, hang tough. Yeah. It won't be easy. You said that to the American people. Is that what Americans should expect?
Yeah, and that's another thing that I don't like. And make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button and that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button. If you have anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. Please put it in donation. We read all super chats. We read all donations. But I don't like this whole, the American people. We're going to have a little bit of turbulence. We're going to have a little bit of pain here. We're going to have a little bit of, but we're going to have to struggle for a little bit. The American people ain't trying to hear that, Trump. Not after 4 years of Joe Biden. Not after 4 years of Biden and him messing up the government, him messing up the economy. Not after we hearing about DOGE giving away, DOGE exposing all this political corruption and all this money being allocated to all these places. And we know you got the money now because you're dismantling all of these governmental sectors. We ain't trying to hear that. You ran on a campaign of fixing the issues. You didn't say when you was on that campaign trail, Donald Trump, you ain't say, oh, we're going to have to struggle for a little bit, but we're going to get things right. I never heard him say that. Remember, I watched every single campaign trail speech. He ain't never say, oh, we're going to have to struggle for a little bit, but, things are going to get better. I didn't hear you say that, Trump. A lot of people wouldn't have voted for you if they would have heard you say that. They would have said, whoa, we've already been struggling. We've already been going nickel and dime and living paycheck to paycheck. Now you're talking about we're going to struggle some more when you get in office? I didn't vote for that. Salute to Zane with the 99 cents. Thank you for sponsoring this war. Salute to you. Yeah, if anybody has anything to add to the discussion, anything to add to what we're talking about here, what we're laying out here, please put it in a donation. We read all donations, we read all super chats, we read all donations, we read all super chats. Please, I want you to be a part of the discussion. I want you to be a part of what we're talking about here. Make sure you like this. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Let's get back into what Trump is talking about here.
Some hard times?
I've said that
because of
during
these
my
tariffs?
campaign. Look, we won a campaign.
He never said that on the campaign. He never said we're gonna struggle for a little bit. Trust me, if he would have said that on the campaign trail, a lot of people wouldn't have voted for him. A lot of people would have said, well, listen, Trump, we've been struggling. Joe Biden, inflation, we've been struggling already. We don't need another 4 years of struggling. We need somebody to get in there and fix what's happening. Fix the government. Fix the economy. Nobody voted for 4 years of more struggling. Can I get a raise of hands of anybody, especially if you're a Trump supporter, who voted for 4 more years of struggling? I need to know. Salute to FBA hustle. Salute to FBA hustle. Who voted for 4 more years of struggling? I didn't see Trump supporters vote for that. I didn't think Trump supporters were voting for 4 more years of struggling. Nobody voted for that. Let's get back into it though.
By a lot. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by a lot. You know, we had a tremendous campaign. I said all of these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period. We've been ripped off by every country all over the world. They're laughing at us. They thought
you didn't say anything about the American people struggling, though. You never told the American people that we were going to struggle. Nobody gets in the voting booth. Nobody pulls the ballot for 4 more years of struggling. That's why that's why people voted for you in the first place, because people were struggling under Biden. So they said, let's get Trump in there so we don't have to struggle anymore. Nobody voted for 4 more years of struggling, Trump. Is that what you're promising us now?
we were stupid people, and we were. And I said, that's not going to happen. We're not
But
going to let
hard
that
times?
happen.
Hard times are ahead?
I don't think so. I
Hang
think
tough.
great times are ahead. Look, since I came in, gasoline is down, groceries are down.
You said that already.
Prices are down. Many things are down, just about everything. You know, you don't have the drop in fuel and energy and oil like we did. I took it from...
There you go again. You know, Trump sucking his own Peter. Trump, stop sucking your Peter. What are you gonna do to ease the pain of these tariffs? People are hearing about these tariffs. They're scared. They're panicking. The tariffs are petrifying people. It's not helping our economy right now. What are you gonna do to fix it? Are you gonna work on a deal with China? We don't want to hear you talk about sucking your own Peter. You ran on a campaign of fixing the economy. You didn't promise us 4 more years of struggling. You didn't promise us that.
Maybe $3.20, maybe more than that, down into a much lower number. When you have that kind of a drop, you're not going to have inflation.
Not now, but it's the tariffs, right? We still have 145% tariffs on China. Your Treasury Secretary said we basically have an embargo on China.
Look, you're trying to say something's going to happen, Terry.
No, okay, well,
nothing's going to happen.
You know business.
Terry,
I want to ask you.
I do know business.
Yes, so 145%.
Do you know business, Trump? Respectfully, and listen, Trump is an accomplished businessman, but you know what people don't want to talk about when it comes to Trump is he's had some successes and he's had some failures. Trump Hotel, a success. Trump University, failure. You know, he's had some success in running apartment complexes, right? But he had failures in running a casino. So listen, Trump, you've had some successes, you've had some failures in business. So we can't just say that you know exactly what you're doing when it comes to running this economy. We can't say that because you've had some successes and you've had some failures.
% tariffs on China, and that is
That's good.
basically
That's
an
good.
embargo.
They deserve it.
It'll raise prices on
They
everything from
deserve it.
electronics to clothing to building houses.
You don't know.
And that's the thing. Like, this is what people are scared of. The thing about China, they have a lot of cheap, meager goods and services that the American people need. And they need these things. Down to the phones, the minerals to make the phones, the clothing, all of these things, so many things that we depend on every day. And Trump is not, budging. I like I said, I think that he could have worked something out with China, but he really believes he knows what he's doing. I disagree. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I think he's messing the government up right now.
That you don't know whether or not China's going to eat it.
That's mathematics.
China probably will eat those tariffs, but
It's not about what they're going to eat, Trump. What is better for the American people? We don't care what China's paying, but what we do care about is it going to affect our pockets, and if it affects our pockets, that's when we care. Like, what the hell, Trump?
145, they basically can't do much business with the United States, and they were making from us $1 trillion a year. They were ripping us off like nobody's ever ripped us off. And by the way, we have other countries that were just as bad.
And I agree with that. Now, this is what I will give Trump a little respect on. Has China ripped us off? Absolutely. Absolutely. Trump is stating facts. China has ripped us off. China does have unfair tariffs on the United States. That's a fact. That is an absolute fact. But I don't think the best option was to raise tariffs on them and go through a tariff war. I think the better option would have been possibly sitting down and having some negotiations. You could have punked them other countries and said, listen, all you other countries, we're going to raise the tariffs on you. And listen, China, we want to sit down and have a talk with you. If you don't want to sit down and talk with us, then we'll have a trade war. You just went right into a trade war with China. I think you could have done something a little bit better. That wasn't going to affect, the American people's pockets right away. It's a fact.
If you look at the European Union, it was terrible what they've done to us. Every country, almost every country in the world was ripping us off. They're not doing that anymore.
I want you to think about the boom that this country has had in small businesses, mom and pop Etsy stores, small businesses that became
they
big
haven't
businesses.
had a boom because of inflation.
Well,
the
boom
was inflation.
I need y'all to hit that like button. Hit that like button.
You don't find that suspicious?
Hit that like button. I'm looking. I got 100 people in the building, but I only got 17 likes.
You don't find that suspicious?
I got 119 people in the building, but I only got 17 likes.
You don't find that suspicious?
119 people. Looky loos. But I only got 17 likes. I need you to bring that up.
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
And if you have anything to add to the dialogue, anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We read all super chats. We read all donations. Let's get back into it.
Boom. The people were wiped out with inflation.
Yes.
I mean, you read the news, you do the business stuff, I assume.
Now, a lot of them built those businesses on the trading model.
Yeah, and they're going to make more money
They
now.
sourced their products overseas, and now they're looking at an extinction
I've
event.
been here.
That's a fact. You didn't care about all those people. You didn't care about these people. You care. All you cared about was making your point, going to this little trade war with with China. You didn't care about the people on the bottom. You didn't care about the people who were running businesses. that were depending on these services and depending on these countries to give them their services. Now a lot of these companies are going to go out of business. And they're going to be able to afford those tariffs. They're not going to be able to afford that. You didn't care about that. All you cared about was going to this little petty tariff war. You could have went about it a different way, Trump. And like I said, you can't tell everybody in the world that you're going to do this tariff thing. And then, when there's other countries that don't respect your pimp hand, like China, and then they're not going for it because you already told them the plan. You already told them what they're going to do. So of course they ain't going to go for it because you already told them what you're going to do. Yeah, man. I just feel like Trump has to do a better job, man. You got to do a better job, man. You got to move better, Trump. You got to move better.
It's a disaster for them.
I've been here for 3 months. I've taken a trade deficit down to a number that's very, very starting to get.
What is that number? What is that number? Tell us the number, Trump.
Really good. I just got here. We had a country that it was not sustainable. What Biden did to this country between the open border.
Again, there he goes, blaming Biden again. There we go. You notice how it always comes back to Biden. People have to acknowledge that. Whether you're a Trump supporter or not, you have to acknowledge that this man continues to go back to Biden. Trump, we are 100 days in your presidency. You're still talking about Biden. Listen, Trump. I'm gonna allow you to continue this charade for the rest of this year, right? I'm gonna allow you because listen, this is your first year. But after this year, I don't want to hear nothing about Biden. I don't want to hear nothing about the old regime. It's been 100 damn days. You still blaming Biden for everything. You're not going to be able to keep running to that argument, You're not going to be able to run it. You're not going to keep being able to say that.
Where criminals poured into our country, between every country in the world ripping us off on trade, it was not sustainable.
So your message to those small...
We got 144 people in the building. Standing tall, standing strong. Yeah, I need you to hit that like button. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, please. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you have anything to add to the discussion, anything to add to the dialogue, please put it in the super chat. We read all super chats, we read all donations. Let's get back into it.
Small businesses who are saying, we can't live a month, 2 months with these tariffs. Apple got a big deal. Is there something for them?
No, not only Apple.
And that's the thing, Trump. You're giving all these big corporations and all these big, you're bailing them out. I talked about the PPP loans, how you forgave all of the PPP loans of the millionaires and the billionaires, but you allowed the students to fit the bill when it came to the student loans, right? So you're bailing out the millionaires and the billionaires, but you're not looking out for the little guy. You're not looking out for the entrepreneurs. You're hurting them. What about the small guy? What about the little guy? What about the blue collar guy? A lot of those small time and small fry guys, they believed in you, Trump. They went to that voting poll for you. They went to that ballot box for you. They said, no, we will not be voting for Kamala. We're going to vote for my man, Donald Trump. They believed in you. But look at them now. They're struggling. They got to figure out what they're going to do after these tariffs and its prices hit. Are you going to help them out? Are you going to fit the bill? Are you going to do something for them? Come on, Trump. People believed in you. They believed in you, but you're hurting them now. You're hurting them.
Apple, we've got $7 to $8 trillion being invested in our country in 2 months. Biden didn't have that over a year. I mean, if you look at Biden, nobody was really investing.
Again, he's back to the Biden. How many times is he going to mention Biden? I wish I had a Biden counter. Every time he mentions Biden, I wish I just had a counter where I could just click a Biden counter. It always gets back to Biden. Let's continue.
in this country. Everybody was ripping off our country. Apple's putting up $500 billion, but that's only one of many companies.
Now, I'm going to give Trump some respect. Yes, Apple, they did invest in America. They said they're going to $500 billion. Listen, that was smart business. That was smart business, That was smart business.
Companies are flooding into our country right now.
So your answer to the concern about the tariffs is everything's going to be hunky-dory?
Everything's going to be just fine. It wouldn't have been if I didn't do this. I had a choice. I could leave it, have a nice, easy time, but I think ultimately you would have had an implosion. Our country had inflation that was worse than they've ever had it before. You don't mention that.
I disagree with that. Has anybody ever heard of the Great Depression? Was inflation bad during the Joe Biden era? Absolutely. But I could think of a couple of times in America that has been a lot worse. So that's another lie, Trump. That's another lie. Was the inflation under Joe Biden bad? Yes, I give it to you. Yes. Yeah, inflation was bad underneath Biden, but was it Great Depression levels? No. Was it? Were we like fastly tracking towards a recession like George W. Bush? No. But was inflation high? I agree. Yes, it was high. It was high. It was high. I agree that it was high, but let's not act like it was that bad. Like there you go. He loves throwing Biden underneath the bus. I got to give it to him. He loves throwing Biden underneath that bus. Because the thing about it, Biden is such an easy target. Biden is just an easy target. He's old. He don't know where he's at. He's such an easy target. So it's so easy for Trump to just grab Joe Biden and just throw him underneath the bus every time. Every time that bus is pulling up at the bus stop, Trump just grabs him up and throws him underneath that bus. It's such an easy target.
Why don't you mention that? We had the worst inflation probably in the history of our country. People say 48 years. Probably in the history of our country, we had the worst inflation. And people were dying over the inflation. You know that. Now the grocery prices.
People were I didn't hear any reports of people losing their lives because of the inflation. Was people struggling in terms of buying groceries? Yes. Were people nickel and diming, because of the quality of living? Absolutely. But I didn't hear any reports in the news or about people losing their lives because of the inflation underneath Joe Biden. That's another lie. Nah, listen, I'm not like, this person that's so against Trump. I'm not a Democrat. Just let y'all know right now. I am not a Democrat. I am not a Republican. I'm a centrist, right? I'm a centrist. So, I don't have no vendetta against Trump or feel no way, but I'm just calling it how I see it. He's really, Joe Biden, the worst inflation ever. He's really trying to trump up all of this jazz to make it sound like, what we were suffering underneath was so much worse and I'm doing everything to fix it. And that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true.
Prices are coming down. The energy prices are coming down. Gasoline's coming down. It's all heading in the right direction.
Okay, let's move on to immigration.
Coming up.
It is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline. But there are questions about your methods.
Huge news. You can get a son of...
We're going to get into some immigration talk. I mean, listen, I think that Trump and that burger does look good on the screen there. That burger does look good. I'm not gonna lie, but I've been giving Trump his flowers on immigration. I think that what Trump is doing, in terms of immigration, has been pretty good. I think I'm a supporter of what he's doing in terms of immigration. I support what he's doing. Do I agree with a lot of the methods? No. Do I agree with him displacing people that are naturalized citizens or people that are citizens and him grabbing them up and sending them places. No. There are some methods that are questionable, but I do believe that we are headed in a better direction in terms of immigration. I do believe we're headed in a better direction, but let's get into it.
Move on to immigration. And as you said, it is an undeniable fact that illegal crossings at the southern border have plummeted, a staggering decline.
But let's give Trump a round of applause for that. Let's give Trump a round of applause for that. Cause listen, man. Cause listen, we could kick in the man's back. We could talk crazy about Trump, but he said he was going to clean up the border, and the man did it. Give him his flowers.
Fire! 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 Fire!
Give him his flowers. The man said he was going to fix up the border, and damn it, he did it. Give him his flowers. You may not like the methods. You may not like the way he did it. You may not appreciate it. You may feel compassionate towards the situation, but the man said he was going to do it, and he did it. I could respect that. I could respect that. I could look at that and say, you know what? I respect that. That's an issue. It's alarming. A lot of Democrats, a lot of liberals want to sweep it underneath the rug and act like it's not an issue, act like it's a problem. It's a problem. Trump did something about it. I got to give him his flowers on that. I give him his flowers on that.
There are questions about your methods. And so I want to ask
About my message?
Methods. About your methods. How you're accomplishing
They seem to
this.
work.
Do you acknowledge that under our law, every single person who gets deported gets a hearing first to make their case?
Well,
I don't think if you're an immigrant that you deserve a hearing. Why do you deserve a hearing? You are a criminal. You crossed the border illegally. If you want to have a hearing, let's deport your ass back to your country and you have a hearing with your country. You don't deserve no hearing in the United States. You don't deserve no due process in the United States. You're a criminal. You don't belong here. You didn't go through the proper channels. You didn't go through the proper means to come here. You don't deserve no due process. We're going to hunt you like cattle. We're going to toss your ass on a cargo jet. And we're going to take you back to your country. You can have your due process there. This is my problem with the liberals. Oh, well, do they deserve a court date? Do they deserve a trial date? No! Toss their ass in a cargo jet and send them back home. All right, unless they have committed acts of crime in the United States. Now, if they committed a crime in the United States, that's when they should be prosecuted. Right? They should be prosecuted to the highest and to the fullest extent of the law. If they've committed a crime here, they should have to deal with our justice system. But if they're just some type of illegal immigrant that has trespassed and come here illegally, they don't deserve no due process. Send their ass back. Send their ass back. Yeah, if you have anything to add to the dialogue, if anything to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. We only read super chats. We only read donations. Let's get back into it.
are we talking about people that are citizens of our country or not?
No, you're not deporting citizens at this point.
Well, let me ask you, did they get hearings when Biden allowed 21 million? Because I think the number's 21.
That's a fact. That's a fact. How many of these sexual deviants did Joe Biden's administration give hearings to? How many of these gang members and criminals did they get hearings? Were they just allowed to come here and commit crimes? Makes you think.
There were 20 million people to flow into our country. You had 21 million people that came into our country through a stupid open border, and they were prisoners, and they were people that you don't want in many cases in our country, right? They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo. They came from South. They came from all over the world. We're talking about some of the roughest countries in the world. They had here, including terrorists, by the way. Now,
but
did we give them a hearing when they came in?
Well, the law requires that every single person who is going to be deported gets a hearing first.
Well,
you acknowledge that?
I'll have to ask the lawyers about that.
Yeah, I don't think any immigrants deserve a hearing. They don't deserve a hearing. You're a fugitive in the United States. You have committed a crime by trespassing into this country. We gotta hunt you down and send your ass back. You don't deserve. And like I said, if you've committed a crime as an illegal immigrant, I believe you deserve to be prosecuted. I do. I believe you deserve to be prosecuted. But if you're just an illegal immigrant and you've just crossed the border, then we don't need to do all of that. You just committed the crime of trespassing in our country. We're gonna capture you and send you back. That's it. It's not that deep. You didn't hurt nobody. You didn't do any criminal act. You just broke the law about running into our country. No biggie. We're gonna capture you. We're gonna send you back home, and that's that. You don't need no hearing. We need a hearing for. What we need to hear that you was in a third world country and you wanted a better life. What are we hearing? What are we hearing? What are we having a hearing about? What do we need to hear about? I don't understand. We're gonna send you back home. Not a big deal.
All I can say is this: if you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Is that what you want us to do?
The law is the law, sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything about trials.
No, not trials.
I am only addressing people that donate to the channel. Most of you are screaming into the echo. I see you, but you're screaming into the echoes. You love Trump. I hate you because you love Trump. Do you know what liberal even means? You guys are screaming into the distance. You're screaming at the moon. We only put respect on the donations. We only put respect on the donors. That's what we put respect here. If you donate to the channel, you have something to say, you have something to add to the discussion, we put respect on you. I'm not talking to no brokies. No broke niggas screaming into the distance. If you have something to add to the discussion, please put it in the super chat. Please put in a donation. We put respect on the donors here. But let's get back to the discussion.
Hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in, they're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally. We have to get them out.
There's a legal process for
That's a fact. You got to get them out. We got to get them out. We got to get them out. You don't need no due process. You don't need no lawyer. You don't need all of that. We caught you jumping the border by yourself. We caught you red-handed. What do you need due process for? What do you need a lawyer for? Turn your ass around and go back. I don't know, damn lawyer. You don't got no constitutional rights to no damn lawyer. You're not even a citizen. You don't got no constitutional rights to no lawyer. What do you need a lawyer for?
I can't be sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers.
And let me ask y'all this: where was all this energy for the Obama administration? Obama deported 2 million people. Why wasn't the liberals asking these questions to Barack Obama? When Barack Obama deported 2 million people, he was known as the deporter in chief. You Democrats don't want to talk about that. You liberals don't want to talk about that. Obama was known as the deporter in chief. Why wasn't all these questions asked then? Why wasn't all these questions asked then? It's very interesting. Let's get back into it though.
They came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come in,
but they're criminals that have constitutional rights, right? So they deserve due process. You are an American citizen within the United States. You deserve, and it's your constitutional right to have due process. If you're a fugitive from another state and you are not a citizen, you do not deserve due process because you have no constitutional rights in this country. What is so hard to understand about that? You're not a citizen. You don't have no constitutional rights here. We're going to send your ass back. Go back to your country.
Into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Exactly. We're not giving you a lawyer, habeas corpus. We're not getting you a public defender. We're going to warm up the cargo jet. We're going to toss your ass in the back of that damn cargo jet. We're going to take off. We're going to go. We're going to get about 30,000 feet in the air. And we're going to toss your ass out there with a damn. We're going to toss your ass out that damn cargo jet at 30,000 miles in the air and send you back. You know? What strap a damn whatever that shit is on, you know, the whatever that shit is. What strap one of those on you where you could hang glide to your country? You can't come here. You got to go back. 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 Hold on. My fault.
In our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Yeah. I don't understand what he's not understanding about that. Listen, if you're a citizen of America, you have constitutional rights to due process. You are a citizen. You deserve your constitutional rights to due process. You have rights within this country. If you are not a citizen and you came here as a fugitive, you didn't go through the proper channels, you are a criminal. You have broken the law. You have no constitutional rights to this country because you are not a citizen. And you did not go through the proper channels to come here. You do not deserve due process. Why is that hard to figure out? I don't understand why that's not so hard to figure out. I don't understand it.
Process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelans.
They get whatever my lawyers say.
Right. All right, let's talk about the Venezuelans. You deported more than 200 Venezuelans to that prison in El Salvador. You say they're violent, they're gang members, they're terrorists.
Now, if you guys want to talk about Trump sending people who are citizens to El Salvador, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't think that Trump should be allowed to do that. Now, if that was the discussion, sending American citizens to an El Salvador prison to do time, I have a problem with that. If you guys want to talk about that, or if they want to talk about that, we could talk about that. I have a problem with that.
Many of them don't have a criminal record at all.
Well,
but I want to.
I'm not so sure about that. If you take a look,
I want to read you something.
Excuse me. When you look at those people, they were violent people. They were violent people.
But many of them don't have a criminal record
Go
at this
ahead.
point.
I want
That's
to read you say.
Well, it's based on their lawyer, what their lawyers have said. Okay. Joe Rogan said this. Joe Rogan, one of the leading podcasters, Trump supporter, about the deportation of Venezuelans. He said, quote, rounding up gang members and shipping them to El Salvador with no due process, he said it was dangerous, and added, quote, we got to be careful that we don't become monsters while we're fighting monsters. Is Joe Rogan right?
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Yeah, we want to be careful, and we are careful. We're doing something that has to be done. We have a country that's very sick. Joe Biden, and it's not him because I don't even think he knew what the hell was happening, but the people around him.
I disagree.
Are
he knew full and well what was happening. He knew full and well what he was doing.
Vicious people. And what they've done to the country is unbelievable. They've allowed 21 million people to pour into our country. Many of these people are criminals. They've allowed you mentioned Venezuela, the jails of Venezuela to be emptied into the United States. Do you know Venezuela crime is way down? Way, way down. You know why? Because their criminals are now living happily in the United States of America, and we're getting them out. And I was elected to get them out, and we're getting them out.
Under the law.
And we're getting them out fast, and we're getting them out legally. Now, in some cases, we have judges. In some cases, they're radical left judges. What happened the other day where a judge was protecting a criminal was horrible. And I think she's got big problems, frankly. And there are a couple of them like that.
I want to talk about one
Wait
man.
a minute.
Yep.
We have to be treated fairly by judges. And we're not being treated fairly by all judges.
I agree. Some of these judges, they're kind of overstepping. And I don't think Trump should have the ability to get rid of a judge. I don't think he should have the power to do that. But a lot of these judges, they do overstep their boundaries. If it's in black and white in law, if it's in black and white in our country's laws that Trump has the power to do this within his power, then that's just what it is. Just because you're some federal judge in some little state, that doesn't mean that you have the authority to overpower the president's authority. Respect my authority. Yeah, some of these judges, they kind of like overstepping their boundaries, in my opinion. Some of them, not all of them, but some of them.
Judges.
Oh, that's a subject. So you're saying that you don't like some of the rulings, some of the court orders?
I think the rulings will be overturned, yeah.
All right. Well, let me ask you about one man and one court order.
Again, like I told you guys, I'm not reading your statements. Keep screaming into the void. If you have anything to say to me, put it in a donation. I respect the donors. I respect the people who donate to the show. I put respect on the donors. I read all donations. I don't respect to brokies butthurt in the comment section. Take your broke ass elsewhere. Be butthurt elsewhere. I don't give a damn what you're talking about. Okay, I put respect on the door, even if it's something that I don't agree with. If you give me a donation and it's something I don't agree with, I still have respect, and I'm still gonna read your donation because I got respect for the donor. I don't respect little brokies in the comment section getting butthurt over something I said. You know? Go get yourself a butt pillow. Go sit on a butt pillow, an orthopedic pillow for your butt, and get over it. All right, let's go.
Abrego Garcia. He's the Salvadoran man who crossed into this country illegally, but who is under a protective order that he not be sent back to El Salvador. Your government sent him back to El Salvador and acknowledged in court that was a mistake. And now the Supreme Court has upheld an order that you must return him facilitate his return to the United States. What are you doing to comply?
Well, the lawyer that said it was a mistake was here a long time, was not appointed by us, should not have said that, and just so you understand, the person that you're talking about, you're making this person sound, this is a MS-13 gang member, a tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay?
Yeah, like, what is with the liberals with this empathy for gang members? What is it with these liberals and these Democrats with this sympathy and empathy for gang members? You know, a lot of these white liberals, when they see these gang members on the streets, they're walking on the other side of the streets. They don't want these people in their communities. Totally antithetical to all this sympathy that, you know, on camera, they have all this sympathy and empathy for these criminals, but they don't want these people in their communities. They're not willing to help these people. They're not willing to, work on these people, whatever they're going through in their communities. They're not willing to help these people in any way, but they got all this sympathy for gang members. Or you Democrats, how about you allow these MS-13 members to live in your house? Allow these criminals, some of these sexual deviant gang members, allow them to live in your houses. Allow them to live in your houses, your mansions, your communities. Democrats and liberals, take the MS-13s, allow them to live in your communities. If you really have all this empathy, all this sympathy for these gang members, take them in. Take them in. Bring them into your homes. Feed them. Introduce them to your daughters and your wives. Sit down and do a little crochet, go out, go out to little Timmy's baseball practice. Take them in. Don't give us all this fake sympathy and all this fake, the MS-13 member. Take them in. But you won't do that. You're not going to take them into your communities. You're not going to take them into your homes. You're not going to do any of that. You're not going to fight for them. You're not going to do any of that. But you want the American people to have empathy and sympathy for people that are terrorizing their communities. How unpatriotic. How un-American-like. Very disgusting. Let's continue, though.
This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands, sir.
Came into our country illegally.
You could get him back. There's a phone on this desk.
We ain't getting him back. Keep his ass there. Send his ass a Taco Bell meal, a Baja Blast. And a damn postcard. He ain't coming back. Keep his ass over there. We don't want him back. We don't want no MS-13 members in the United States. Keep his ass over there, all right? Send his ass a Taco Bell meal.
I could.
You could pick it up, and with all the power of the presidency, you could call up the president of El Salvador and say, send him back right now.
And if he were the gentleman that you say he is, I would do that.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No.
And that's why I don't get these liberals. He's sitting here fighting for this MS-13 member. I guarantee you, if that MS-13 member was in front of this white man's house, he would call the cops in 5 seconds. If that MS-13 member walked up to his daughter, he would call the cops in 5 seconds. If that MS-13 member knocked on his door and only his wife was home, he would call the cops in 1 second. But you got all this empathy and sympathy for gang members. I just don't get it. I don't get it. You liberals, y'all don't want these people in your communities. You don't want these gang members in your communities. You don't want these people nowhere around you. But you want the American people to have empathy and sympathy for these people that we know are terrorizing the community, that are bringing down the community, that are bringing down our quality of living, that are terrorizing our communities. We don't want them. It's one thing if they're citizens and they belong here, but if they don't belong here and they're a part of criminal organizations, we don't want them.
Follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem. It was a unforced error that was made.
Yeah, you know, the liberals, they're not going to win this fight with the American people. The American people have spoken. When it comes to immigration, the American people have spoken. Enough is enough. The liberals have let in millions and millions of undocumented illegals, criminals, sexual deviants. The American people have spoken. Enough is enough. They need to go back home. So, you know, all this empathy and sympathy for illegal immigrants, especially when they're gang members. It's one thing if you come here, like I have empathy and sympathy for illegal immigrants that come here and they're just looking for a better life. I have empathy for those men and those women. If you came here as an illegal immigrant and you ain't trying to cause no harm, you just coming here for a better quality of living, I have empathy for you. I have sympathy for you. But if you're a criminal, a sexual deviant, I don't want you here. I don't want you here. I don't want you here. Go back to your country and be a threat to society. We got enough naturalized threat to societies in America. We don't need you here. We got enough of that here.
By a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, a great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. They allowed millions of immigrants to come into this country undocumented. They did nothing to stop it. They allowed it to happen.
Campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my number one issue, but it was pretty close. Right up there. I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it. By law. And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS-13.
He got the MS-13 on his knuckles.
There's a dispute over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS-13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute.
He had MS-13 on his knuckles. You don't just put MS-13 on your knuckles for no reason. All this sympathy for gang members. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS-13.
It says MS-13.
That was Photoshop.
Oh, that was Photoshop. Do you hear these liberals? It was Photoshopped. Oh my goodness, man. This is why the Democrats are probably never going to win another election, because they're in denial. They're in denial. They're in denial, and they have empathy for criminals. They have empathy for criminals, and they're in denial. If you have empathy for criminals and you're in denial, I don't see how you can win another election. So unless that changes, I don't see them winning.
So let me
That was Photoshop, Terry. You can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS-13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture. We'll
and you
agree
think it was
to disagree.
Photoshop? Well,
Here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS-13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No.
I love that Trump is on it. I love Trump that he's on this. He ain't trying to change this topic. I love it. I love that Trump is on it. He ain't trying to change the topic on. I love it. I love it.
But
They're in your picture.
Terry,
Ukraine, sir.
he's got MS-13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
It's you do
We'll take a
such a
look at that.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something else?
Contestant. Ukraine.
Coming up, the
Oh man, Trump is funny. You got to give it to Trump. Whether you like him or you hate him, the man is funny. He's funny. Funny, man. He's funny. He's very comical. He's comical. I'm not gonna lie.
Russia-Ukraine warric meeting.
Huge news. You can get a son of...
Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Let's get into Ukraine. Him and Zelensky, aka the fancy boy Zelensky. The cross dresser. Let me see if I can play Zelensky when he was doing burlesque shows. This is why Putin has no respect for him, because Putin saw this. He probably seen this Zelensky dance video. When Putin saw this, he's like, "Oh, this nigga soft. This nigga's a space dandy. A bati man." When Putin saw this, he was like, "Oh nah, we're not doing no peace treaty with this dude." Why would he do a peace treaty with him? Why? After this, why would he do it? I wouldn't do no peace treaty with no nigga after this. I'm gonna come clean. I'm not.
You don't find that suspicious?
I'm not doing no peace treaty with a nigga that do burlesque shows. I'm not doing no peace treaty with a bati man. Come on, look at him. Look at doing burlesque shows. What is he doing?
You don't find that suspicious?
What is he doing?
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
This is why Putin is. That's why Putin said, "Nah, we're not doing no peace treaty. We're not doing no peace treaty." This is why he said that. This is why he said. I'm sure he's seen that video. Like, we ain't doing no peace treaty with this dude, bro. How would it look me doing a peace treaty with this dude? Keep it real. Keep it real. I'm sure if Zelensky never had that video, Putin might have said, "You know what? Maybe we could do something. Maybe we could figure something out." But he saw that. He was like, "I'm not doing no peace treaty with this dude." That's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. Let's get into it, though.
Rome, and to that moving photograph of you and President Zelensky sitting in St. Peter's Basilica talking peace. It went around the world.
Sure.
Take us into that moment.
Well, look, the Ukraine is a very serious, very tough situation. And this is Biden's war. This is not my war, but I want to see if I can solve it, because probably close to 5,000 young soldiers a week are being killed, Russian and Ukrainian. We also spend a tremendous amount of money in Ukraine, and Europe should be spending much more than us. They're not. They're spending much less. It's been badly handled by the Biden administration. It's been badly handled all the way around, the way around.
That moment.
The moment was a moment of solace, in a sense, because tremendous numbers of people are dying. A lot of his people are dying. They're being killed. And I feel very badly about it. I feel very badly about it. That's a war that would have never happened if I were president. And it didn't happen for 4 years. It was never even a thought of it happening.
It does feel like something's happening after that meeting with Zelensky in St. Peter's. You posted this on social media. There was no reason for Putin to be shooting missiles into civilian areas and cities and towns over the last few days. It makes me think that maybe...
Well, that was part of my post, but you're right. That was a part of a post.
And it says, it makes me think that maybe he doesn't want to stop the war. He's just tapping me along.
Yeah, that's possible. Sure.
He might be...
He could be tapping me along a little bit.
Now, I don't know, because personally, I do think Zelensky wants an end to the war, But when he came into that meeting, the meeting with Trump and JD Vance was kind of tag teaming Zelensky. I do feel like he went in there a little too hot. Zelensky went in there a little too hot. He was talking real fly. He was talking real fly, and I don't think JD Vance and Trump respected that. But yeah, I do think he wants a peace treaty signed. But I think Zelensky doesn't trust Putin, which he shouldn't. I agree, he shouldn't trust Putin. But I think Zelensky was just talking a little too fly that night, and I think he was feeling himself a little too much, and he went in there with a little too disrespectful. That's my opinion, though. But I did hear that United States and Ukraine did sign that minerals deal, so that at least gives Ukraine, at least an invested interest with the United States. Now, the United States is invested financially, so they have a little bit more incentive to be involved in whatever's going on out there. So I think it was important for them to sign that minerals deal. So the United States may take a more invested interest on, getting things done in terms of that deal. So in terms of peace or whatever. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, I think Zelensky he was just talking a little too fly that day. But they did sign that minerals deal, so we'll see how that works out.
I would say that he would like to stop the war. I think that if it weren't for me, I think he'd want to take over the whole country, personally. I always felt. So when I left, there wasn't even a chance that this would happen. When Biden got involved, I won't say whether or not he handled it properly, but obviously it wasn't good because the war started. Putin went in, the war started. I believe that Putin wanted to get all of Ukraine once he went in. And I think part of the reason he went in, he saw what happened in Afghanistan, how incompetently Milley and all these guys handled that. It was one of the greatest embarrassments of our lifetimes, but maybe in the history of our country. Okay, so Putin went in. I think Putin wanted all of Ukraine. Right. I think if I didn't win the election, he would have gotten all of Ukraine. I think he would have taken all of Ukraine. I think his first choice, never with me, he would have never gone in. With this group of losers, he went.
Now, I disagree with Trump. He said this in the past that this war would have never happened if he was in office. I disagree. I do think that I don't think let me say that back. I don't think it would have happened, but I think that inevitably it would have happened. I think eventually Trump, whether he does one term or two term, it would have happened regardless. Whatever happened when he was in office, probably not. But to say that it wouldn't have happened, I disagree.
And he saw what happened in Afghanistan. He said, "Wow, this is my chance," because it was always the apple of his eye. I talked to him. Ukraine was the apple of his eye. I think he wanted the whole country.
You've said for
and
months
because of me, I do believe that
Yeah.
he's willing to stop the fighting. Don't
You
forget,
think he wants
this
peace?
is
You think Vladimir Putin wants peace?
I think he does. Yes, I think
Still.
he does. I think because
Even with the
of me,
raining missiles?
I disagree with that.
I think he really his dream was to take over the whole country. I think because of me, he's not going to do that.
Do you trust
I
him?
think-
Do you trust him?
I don't trust you. I don't trust a lot of people. I don't trust you. Look at you. You come in all shooting for bear. You're so happy to do the interview.
I am
And then
happy.
you start hitting me with fake questions. You start telling me that a guy whose hand is covered
All right,
with a
we're back to
tattoo doesn't have the tattoo.
All right.
I mean, you're being dishonest.
No, I'm not.
Let me
No, I
just
am
tell
not,
you,
sir.
I don't trust a lot of people. But I do think this. I think that let's say he respects me. And I believe because of me, he's not going to take over the whole. But his decision, his choice would be to take over all of Ukraine. Okay. It's a war that never should have happened. It did happen because of incompetent people.
Last question on this.
But it never should have happened.
If there's no peace deal, will the U.S. cut off military aid to Ukraine?
I don't want to tell you that. I'm not going to tell you whether or not I would or not. I want to leave that as a big fat secret because I don't want to ruin a negotiation. But
I'd be worried
I
if
will
I
tell
were
you, I
Ukrainian.
was not happy when I saw Putin shooting missiles into a few towns and cities. And that was not something that I liked seeing. And I thought it was inappropriate. But I think the whole war is inappropriate.
Okay.
Again, it's a war that shouldn't have happened. This war is a war that if the election weren't rigged, and it was totally rigged, the 2020 election.
He still believes that the election was rigged, though? Does he still believe that?
Weren't rigged, you wouldn't have that. You wouldn't have had the embarrassment of Afghanistan. You wouldn't have October 7th with Israel. You wouldn't have had any of the problems that you have right now.
I want to ask one question.
You wouldn't have had inflation either.
All right. I want to ask one question about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. There's a lot of turmoil at the Pentagon right now. There's the signal chat with his wife on it where he's discussing that attack in Yemen. There's another signal chat discussing the attack on Yemen. There's a reporter accidentally involved. You said the other day that you had a talk with the secretary. Did you take him to the woodshed?
I had a talk with him, and whatever I said, I probably wouldn't be inclined to tell you. But we had a good talk. He's a talented guy. He's young, he's smart, highly educated, and I think he's going to be a very good hopefully a great defense secretary, but he'll be a very good defense secretary.
You have 100% confidence in
I
Pete
don't have
Hegseth?
100% confidence in anything. Okay, anything. Do I have 100%? It's a stupid question. Look,
it's a pretty important position.
No. You don't have 100%. Only a liar would say I have 100% confidence. I don't have 100% confidence that we're going to finish this interview.
We will.
Let's go.
Coming up, President Trump on Elon Musk and DOGE.
Did DOGE go too far, too fast, too recklessly?
That's a good question. It's a
Irresistible.
good question on Doge. I don't think Doge did anything as of yet that we know of. I think if their goal was to show us where all this money was being allocated and the fraud and the money laundering, I think the job was done. And I think it was done. I think it was done effectively. If that was the goal of Doge. Now, if we're finding anything later, we'll see. Let's see.
That there's wasteful government spending. It's really important. But the cuts have had some serious consequences. There have been cuts to foreign aid programs that save lives and keep people alive overseas. There's been research at the National Institutes of Health on cancer, on Alzheimer's, that has had to be stopped. And the question I think people have is, did DOGE go too far, too fast, too recklessly?
No, I think DOGE has been, saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There were some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any of
Well,
these.
you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the, are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally, all right, there's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You know.
Now I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have
I'm
been.
asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of
Of course there have been. Take a look at some of these
All
things
right,
that
all
took
right,
place.
all right.
Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course there have been.
I want to bring up what is truly to a lot of people, one of the biggest achievements of your first term. That is Operation Warp Speed. You got that COVID vaccine up and going and distributed, and a lot of people took it and vaxxed.
I don't want to talk about COVID. I don't want to talk about the jab.
Go asking the justification for going after people you don't like.
President Trump, the first 100 days continues.
I'm not interested in the jab talk.
I want to talk a little bit about presidential power, the powers that you have in the presidency temporarily that the American people have given you, right? You've revoked a lot of people's security clearances. You've revoked people's security details who are still threatened, with death threats. You've gone after law firms because they've employed people you don't like, or they have represented people you don't like.
They obviously agreed because they paid me a lot of money.
Well, the reason they agreed is because you were threatening to destroy their business with your executive order that said you can't represent clients for the federal government. That's their bread and
big
butter.
boys. These are the biggest, most powerful lawyers. These are not people
You got a lot of leverage as
easily
president.
intimidated.
As president, you've got all the cards.
They paid hundreds of millions of dollars because.
Let me look at the poll real quick, because I know a lot of people voted. Let me just look at the poll real quick. I just want to see what was the number of people who voted in terms of what do you guys feel Trump has done in terms of the last 100 days? Do you feel like that he's done a great job, a bad job, a terrible job? I just want to know. Let me just take a look at the poll. Let me see. Where's the poll at? Let me go back. Hold on. I want to take a look at that poll. Hey, yo. I want to see the poll, though. Let me see. I want to know what people think in terms of the job Trump has done. Okay, out of 232 votes, what do you think of Trump's last 100 days, his last 100 days in office? So we have 46% who say he's done a good job. We have 8% who says meh, and another 46%. So we're kind of deadlocked in terms of good and bad. So the 46% says this man is effing up the country. So we're deadlocked. Half of the people say he's done a great job, and half of the people have said this man's effing up the country. So we're deadlocked here. So we're split. We're split. A lot of people think he's done a bad job. A lot of people think he's doing pretty good. I don't know what to tell y'all, but let's continue. Almost done.
They felt, I guess, they probably felt they did something wrong.
It was for survival, sir.
No, it isn't.
You're crushing their business.
These firms.
Hello,
are very
Kenny and
powerful
Priscilla.
firms.
Hello, Kenny and Priscilla. I just seen y'all said hey, so I'm saying hey back.
And there's 15 of them. And these are firms that probably, look, you have to ask them. In fact, this is a separate story. You have to ask them, why did you all pay Trump hundreds of millions of dollars in services, etc.? Why did you do that? I don't know.
You don't think that
we have a clause in the thing that while we admit no wrongdoing, but it's like one of those things. And now I'm friendly with those firms, but it's these are the most powerful firms in the world, and they just signed whatever I put in front of them. I've never seen anything like it. I'm actually surprised myself in a certain way, but they obviously felt they probably did something wrong. I guess that's why they signed.
I guess the question out of that is the concern that people have. Are you using your powers as president to get personal revenge?
No, I'll tell you what.
I don't feel like Trump is using his powers to inflict personal, vendettas against people. I think that's BS. And I think that the Democrats are creating this narrative when they're really guilty of this. The Democrats clearly weaponized the Department of Justice against Trump. That's a fact. They took away his his presidential security, the Joe Biden administration. They've done all of these little things to attack him, but then as soon as he gets in power, now look at him. He's taking power against us. But you guys were doing it for the last 4 years against him. So I think that even if he was guilty of it, the Democrats are guilty of doing it to him. And they're just crybabies. The Democrats are sore losers. When they were in office and they were doing all these things politically to hurt him, all of these things, during the justice system and all these things to try to lock him in prison, it was all fine and dandy when they were doing it. But when he's in there and he's, throwing his weight around, what's a problem now? But when you guys did it, it was fine, huh? Very interesting. Yeah, so I don't want to hear no liberals and Democrats talk about, Trump is using his power to go against his enemies. But you guys did it first.
What you're really not asking, and you should be asking, there has never been a president in this country, in the history, that was persecuted like I was persecuted by.
That's a fact, Jeffrey. Listen, Trump is a felon. I agree. Trump is a felon. He is a felon.
Really crooked people. Dishonest, horrible people, and it's been proven. So when you say I'm treating people rough, I'm not treating people rough. I was treated worse than any president in the history of our country. And, people figured, well, maybe that's it. Finally, we got, he's leaving town. There goes the helicopter. and then I came back. And I came back because I have tremendous support. You know, when you win an election like I won it, and you will admit I won all 7 swing states, I won the popular vote, I won 2,750 districts compared to 500 districts. That's why the map is all red. And those people feel that I was treated unfairly.
But does that give you the right to go after your political opponents with the powers of this office?
I'm going after, all I'm doing, hey, Biden did something to me, and I did something to Biden. And you know why I did it? Because he's grossly incompetent. That's not a man that should be allowed to, you know, be looking at things that are very confidential.
But what about,
because
there's
he didn't,
71
here's a
people
man
you
that used an auto pen to sign very important documents. Now, who really is, do you think he knew that they were using an auto pen? I mean, he used an auto pen to sign very, very important documents. And so those are really the questions you should be asking. What do you think of the auto pen? Who wielded the auto pen? Because whoever that person was, think of it, whoever the person that wielded the auto pen, he was really the president of the United States. Because I don't think that Biden knew anything about it.
Fair enough. But you are the president now, and I'm asking the justification for going after people you don't like.
No. People that I think are dishonest. It's not that I don't even know most of them. They're people that I think are dishonest.
These people made you angry.
No, it's not anger. These are people that I think are very dishonest. I don't think they're worthy of being able to go into top secret information. I think that's fine. And Biden did that with many of our people. But when you look at it, news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you. More importantly, thank you for having us here.
Hold on, bro.
One more question. It's a big one. All right.
You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
Thank you for the opinion, but more importantly, thank you for having us here. I have one more question. It's a big one. It's a question that you know a lot of people have out there. What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we haven't had before?
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was laughed at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
Mr. President, thank you.
Thank you, Terry, very much.
And that was Trump, your commander-in-chief. Put him on up on the screen. Hold on, put that man back on the screen. Put that man on the screen. Hold on, let's put that man on the screen. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, that was your president, your commander-in-chief, Donald J. Trump. Let me just read the poll one more time before we get out of here. And yeah, anybody new here? This is the check-in report. This is a show where we discuss a bevy of different topics: political, trending news, breaking news. I want you guys to come on back. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Please don't get out of here before you like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you join the channel. But yeah, the poll. This is how the poll reads. 238 votes. What do you think of Trump's 100 days? 45% say good. Trump is doing a good job. 45%. 8% say meh. 8% of people are saying meh. He's doing a middle of the road job. Not too good, not too great. 47%. This is the highest percentage saying that this man is effing up the country. 45%, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, and it's kind of a middle of the road. A lot of people are saying he's doing a terrible job. A lot of people are saying he's doing a good job. But you decide. Was he doing a good job or bad job? I personally think that he's not doing a good job. I think he's dropped the ball with the tariffs. A lot of people did not sign up for the tariffs and paying more on these meager goods and services. He's dropped the ball on a couple of other things. He's had some successes. I think he had some success with the border. I think the success of the border is what people wanted. And a couple of other things. I think that DOGE. We really don't know if DOGE is really a good or bad thing yet. We can respect that DOGE exposed a lot of political corruption. It exposed a lot of political corruption, and that's a good thing because we didn't need to know where this money was being allocated to, and it did expose that. But what happens from here now? Now that we have exposed the political corruption, what happens now? It's great that you stop the programs. It's great that a lot of this money is being put back to where it needs to be. But what happens now? What happens now with all this political exposure? It's very interesting. And like I said, make sure you guys come on back. This is the check-in report. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Is there anything anybody else has to say? Anything else? Does anybody has anything that they would like to add to this discussion when it comes to Trump? Salute to Sam. Salute to Jeffrey. Yeah, man, but it's very interesting. Trump is a very interesting character, man. He's a very interesting character. The Democrats. Let me say this about the Democrats. The Democrats are sore losers. They have been whining about Trump coming after them and revenge, but it's kind of duly so because they came after him. They weaponized the Department of Justice. They have. I mean, it's obvious that they did everything in their power to keep him out of office. They knew he was a threat. They knew he was a threat to get back in that office, and they did everything in their power to keep him out, and it didn't work. And they have to deal with it at this point. But it just is what it is. I'm no fan of the Democrats. I'm no fan of the liberals either. But listen, guys, thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. If this is your first time here, make sure you like, comment, subscribe right now. Hit that. There's like 3 buttons on the side right here. Hit them 3 buttons on the side. Hit the subscribe button. Hit that like button. Come on back. We're going to have more shows, more lives, more things to talk about politically, trending news, breaking news. I want you guys to come on back, join the show. Yeah, man, it is what it is. And next time we're probably going to get on Twitter Spaces. Does anybody have Twitter? Hold on. Let me put my Twitter in the in the chat. Give me 1 second, y'all. Does anybody have Twitter? I'm going to put my Twitter in the chat cuz we have Twitter Spaces sometimes where I let people come in and we talk about a subject or whatever. Let me drop my Twitter Spaces in the chat for y'all cuz I want y'all guys to join the convo next time where we could talk about these things. Copy link to profile. Let me do that real quick. Let me drop this. Join my add me on Twitter because we're gonna have Twitter Spaces on a lot of these topics. Drop that in there. Yeah, that's my Twitter, the check-in report on Twitter. The check-in report on X. I don't know why it's not a hyperlink, but yeah, that's me on Twitter, the check-in report on Twitter/X. Yeah, add me on Twitter because we're gonna have a Twitter Spaces. I wouldn't mind having a Twitter Spaces right now if you guys wanted to join. Because we could definitely have a discussion about it. Does anybody want to hop on Twitter right now, have a discussion about Trump? We can hop on right now and talk about this if y'all want. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. Let me see something. Let me see. I don't know why I don't have the hyperlink. I'm trying to put the hyperlink in my thing. Let me see. Yeah, does anybody want to join the Twitter Spaces? We can have a chat about this. Let me see something. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Does anybody want to join the Twitter Spaces and have a chat about your man 4547? Let me see. Hold on. Let me do something real quick. I'm gonna start it up for like 5 minutes. Does anybody want to have a chat about this? Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm gonna put this in the chat. Oh, you can't. I forgot. You can't put hyperlinks in the vertical lives. Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of people. People was turning up in here earlier. Blah. Yeah, let me cancel the Twitter Spaces because I forgot you can't do that on here. Forgot. I'll do it next time. Listen, y'all. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna come back on here possibly maybe tomorrow, probably do a live and talk about whatever. And we're gonna have more lives about this. We're gonna have more lives about this, more lives about Trump, more lives about political discussions. Yeah, add me on Twitter X. Hold on, let me put that back in here. Yeah, add me on Twitter X. Check-in report on Twitter. We could have some discussions. I want people to join the spaces. I definitely want people to join the spaces. Matter of fact, actually, hold on. Let me put my Twitter on the thing. I'm bugging. I can put my Twitter on the thing. Hold on. I'm bugging. I am bugging out. I can put my Twitter on the screen. I'm over here typing it and all that stuff. Let me go to my page. Got people in here. Yeah, this is my Twitter right here. It's my Twitter right here. Y'all could join me right here. Add me on Twitter. Does anybody want to join the spaces? Does anybody want to join the spaces? Anybody want to join the spaces? Does anybody want to join the spaces and have this discussion real quick about Trump? Does anybody want to talk about Trump, you know? Join the spaces. Join the spaces, bro. Yeah, does anybody want to have a discussion? We can have a discussion about Trump real quick, you know? Let me know if you really rocking with Trump. Let me know if you really rolling with Trump. If you really respect him like that, you know? You really vibing with the dude like if you really rocking with him. You know? Hold on. All right, maybe next time. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I am tired. I am tired. If y'all don't want to hop on spaces, cool. I'm gonna go live. Maybe tomorrow. If y'all wanna, if anybody wanna hop on spaces right now, let me know though. We can hop on spaces. Anybody wanna hop? Does anybody got Twitter? We can hop on spaces right now. Talk about Trump, man. Get this Trump thing going on. Nah, but I am tired. I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go live tomorrow because I'm tired. We're gonna do another political live tomorrow, and maybe we'll hop on spaces tomorrow as well. But listen, guys, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. If any of y'all on Twitter, make sure you guys follow me on Twitter, and we'll probably hop on spaces on another live, another chat, yo. But I'm about to dip.